If you constantly feel stuck, blocked, and like you lack energy, it probably comes down to these three things. And these have been three things that helped me back for years, but I haven't been aware of them. And when I became aware of them, I changed them step by step. And I'm also going to break down how I changed them and share something with you that helped me enormously over the years. But the first thing out of the three is that you are starting your day in someone else's life. Most people, when they wake up, what do? They grab their phone, they go on social media, they go on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, they check the news, they check somebody's Instagram story, they check whatever is happening out there. And you got to think of it like this: you are starting your day in someone else's life, which means you give your energy away because your attention is your energy. Wherever your attention goes, energy flows. So when you are starting your day first thing in the morning by going into the phone and checking something that's outside of you, you're already distorting your focus. You're already distorting your reality, and you're already going outside of yourself. And especially in the morning time, your subconscious mind is the most wide open. And that's the perfect time to program yourself with your dreams, with your realities, with whatever you want to manifest or what you want to create for yourself. But most people don't do this. And then you go to bed, and most people do the same thing before they go to bed. They check the phone, they check the news, and then they fall asleep to that, going to the state where the subconscious is working the most throughout the resting period while you're asleep. And then 6 to 8 hours while you're resting, your mind is still processing what you've consumed all day long. And then this is a never-ending loop that repeats itself. So the first thing that blocks most people is simply spending too much time on the phone, consuming too much. And there are different distractions. It doesn't just have to be the phone. If you're looking at this right now and you're saying, "Oh, I don't consume on my phone," but you're spending a lot of time on the iPad, it's the same thing, or on TV, or general, like too much screens, too much artificial reality. So you have to come back to the present. You have to come back to the now. You have to ground yourself in that moment, because when you are in the moment, that's when you feel alive again. That's when you start to become aware of who you are again. That's when you start to become aware of what you feel, and also of the emotions you have suppressed. Because the funny thing is that at this time we try so much to avoid the present moment, although that's the only moment that we truly have. Think of that. But the first step to then get rid of this is to become aware of your consumption time, how much you consume, and to change the way you start your days. To not grab your phone first thing in the morning, to spend time with yourself, to spend time reflecting on your life and who you want to be and how you want to step into the world. So, first thing is too much consumption, spending too much time on the phone, starting your day in someone else's life, giving your energy away. The second thing is lack of gratitude, but not just the typical thank you type of gratitude. You might say thank you to somebody who gives you something, but like the real genuine gratitude that you feel within. And why? How come? How comes? Because we constantly focus on the things that are lacking. We constantly focus on what's going wrong, and we've been programmed to think this way. When you look at the news, they constantly show you what's going wrong in the world, but there are a lot of things that good things happening right now in this moment. Right now, you might not believe it, but they're happening on this planet right now. But we don't see them in the news because we are programmed to focus on the negative aspect. And it's also our part. It's also because we are drawn to this. But why are we drawn to this? Because we've been programmed to be drawn to this. So when you constantly focus on what's missing or what's wrong, of course you give your joy away. Of course you feel stuck. Of course you feel blocked and like there's nothing moving forward. And this doesn't just go with the news. If you're always on social media and you consume somebody who's really triggering your shame points and your pain points with marketing, which is also just a tool, but it can be used differently, in my opinion. You can use marketing to empower people and to show them the power inside of themselves, and then get them to take action. Little pain points are good as well sometimes to become aware of what's happening. But there's some people out there, I don't want to name names, but who really call you something like, "Oh, you're brokey," or if you don't do this, you bitch ass, or something like this. There's not even a language I use. But be aware of what you consume and how what you consume makes you think, because what you consume consumes you. What you consume consumes you. And if you constantly consume content that triggers your shame and your puts you in a state of weakness and guilt and makes you focus on what's lacking, then guess what that does to your thinking and to your mood. And when you operate out of a state of lack, nothing moves forward because you're not in the frequency, and everything in this universe is frequency. And if you're not in the right frequency, you won't get to where you want to be. And even if you get to where you want to be, you won't be satisfied because you still feel lack inside of you. You are still a person that's lacking something. So the key to change that is to find a practice to establish more gratitude in your life and to become more and more present and to become more aware of what's here right now and what you could appreciate right now and what's good about the now, what you could actually use to move forward, you know? So that's number two, lack of gratitude. And number three is that you're not aware of what's serving you and what's not serving you. You haven't identified what those things are that are holding you back, the things that actually are not good for you anymore, that are not aligned for you anymore. And those can be things that maybe have been working for you a couple years ago, but they're not working for you anymore. They're not in the they're not aligned with who you are anymore. Or they're not aligned with where you want to go anymore. Because if you want to go somewhere new, if you want to become something new, you have to be willing to let go of what used to be. And you have to be willing to let go of what's not serving you. And also, maybe you haven't identified what's really serving you right now and what you should do more of. And a lot of times we know, deep inside ourselves we know, but it's about facing ourselves, being willing to sit down and write it down, being willing to look into the mirror and actually speak the truth to ourselves, to look into our eyes and really just be honest with ourselves, have a real conversation with ourselves, which can be painful and uncomfortable. But it's really important to identify what's serving you, what's boosting your energy and what's draining your energy, and what's not serving you. Because when you do, you have clarity. And when you have clarity, you can move forward with power. And then you get out of this feeling of stuckness. Then you get out of this feeling of being blocked. And then you get out of this feeling of lacking your energy. Because those things, they limit us. They limit you. They've been limiting me for years until I've been real with myself, until I ask myself, okay, who are the people that I actually where I actually feel good when I leave the space? How do I feel? When I meet up with these people, how do I feel? And I had to get real with myself. I've been in circles where I didn't feel good at all. I felt amazing before that. And when I met these people, I just felt it didn't feel aligned anymore. Not to put any blame on them, but it's just like sometimes you grow and the other people don't grow as much as you do, or sometimes you grow in different directions. And that's just how life goes. But it's important to be aware of that and to be honest with yourself. And I put this into something called the elevation guide with 3 steps. Actually, the 3 steps I talked about here, but I go into more detail there, where I show you how to create a morning practice that's actually helping you to guard your peace and to stay with yourself and to increase your energy throughout the day. And when you do this consistently, it will help you to increase your energy over the next weeks. That's why I also called it the 30-day elevation guide. But actually, I could have called it the 7-day elevation guide as well, because even if you do this for a week, it will increase your energy. At least that's what it has done for me. And it will also help you to increase your gratitude, to have more gratitude and joy for life. Because I also put a little practice in there that helped me enormously, where you reprogram your thoughts, where you reprogram your focus, where you focus on the things that are good for you, and also put something in there that helps you to identify what it is that's serving you and what's not serving you. These 3 steps changed everything for me. They helped me to get out of my rut, because I've been in a deep rut a couple years ago, depressed, waking up, not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to do shit because I just felt like I'm not getting anywhere and nothing that I do makes sense. But when I did these steps consistently, and that's very important, it only works if you do it consistently. If you do the work consistently, they changed a lot for me. And I still have this inside of me. Like I made it a part of who I am. And now I'm still not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I have way more energy than I used to have. I have way more gratitude for life than I used to have. And my consciousness is in a different level, on a different level of consciousness. There's different levels of consciousness. And I attribute this, or how do you say attribute this? Yeah, I give it up to these free practices. They helped me a lot on my journey, and I put this into a guide called the Elevation Guide. You can get it for free. in the description or in the link in my bio. And remind yourself, just spend more time with yourself. Be more with you. Don't spend so much time on the phone. Have more gratitude for life, no matter how you do it. You can just be here right now and focus on what's here right now. And also identify what's serving you and what's not serving you. Like I said, if you want to have a detailed description, something that assists you on that journey, you can get the guide. And apart from that, I thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I am Law Ru. This is the way of law. And we keep on rising. We keep on elevating. One love.